first of all, the most important program that's underway in the world right now is not really a program underway in the world. It's a solar system program, which we had this victory last week of the landing of the Mars Science Laboratory on Mars. But what I wanted to begin with is a perspective from the White House. Now, several days ago, the President of the United States gave a call to JPL and congratulated the Curiosity lander crew for their magnificent landing, which on the one hand it's a nice thing for a president to do. It's the third time that that's happened. Ford did it when they landed the Viking. Bush Jr. did it when the Spirit lander landed. And so now Obama did it. So on the surface, it's a very good thing. But there's a big problem with how it was carried out. Now, the one thing that Obama said, which I'd like to just concentrate on, he said, this is a great thing. He commented on the Mohawk guy. He said, let me know when you find life up there and everything like that. And I promise, I give you my commitment to ensure that you will continue to have the continued investments into this type of program so that you can continue the type of work that you're doing. Now, he says this in the midst of already having established the budget for NASA for 2013, which slashes not just the manned space program. The manned space program it's in a shambles right now in the United States, but also slashing the planetary space program by a lot. Specifically slashing the Mars program by 40%, almost half. At this point, there's no more. JPL and NASA cannot do any Mars program that costs more than about $700 million now. The Curiosity lander costed, at this point, upwards of $2.5 billion. It's a so-called flagship program. So the new budget established by Obama prevents any more projects of the class of Curiosity. Now he had the audacity to even go further and set up what he calls the Mars Program Planning Group, where he gets all the scientists together to say, okay, well, under this new budget, let's look at what other great programs we can do. Let's see how we can rearrange and come up with some other great programs for the Mars mission. Now, this is a big slap in the face to anybody who studies the solar system, because anybody who knows anything about exploring the solar system knows that we have a full program already laid out for getting out and understanding our solar system. The next step, Curiosity, is a crucial point. Curiosity right now is, as I described last time, it's inside of a crater. And it's inside of a pretty magnificent crater because it has tons of evidence of previous water. It's sitting right next to what appears to be it's a feature called an alluvial fan, which is where water swept tons of material into the crater at some point in the past as part of flooding. On the other side of the rover, you have this mountain which looks like it's made of sediments, a sedimentary record, which will give the history of Mars going back something like 4 billion years. Now, the importance of the rover is that it will go into this area of the sediments and make measurements that can then be compared to the observations that were made from orbit, from these orbital spacecraft, to correct and improve what we're getting from the orbital spacecraft. The next step is already very clear. We need to go to Mars, collect samples, and bring them back to the Earth. The next step after that is pretty obvious. We need to send people there.
Now I want to get into a little bit more into the question of the observation systems we need, and how we need to begin to populate the solar system with the types of synthetic instrumentation, and how that has to be seen, as we said, as the extension of mankind's mind, to actually enveloping this whole region of the solar system and bringing it under its control. So just to set that up, to get into it, we have the first image here, which is just kind of a classic cartoon image of the inner solar system. So this is the region we want to begin to focus in on and look at. And we'll step back outside of this in a minute, but to start, to kind of take the basic first threats we have to deal with, we want to focus on this region here. So you have the 4 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, indicated here. And you have this discontinuity of the asteroid belt. This, the famous discontinuity that Kepler forecast, looking at his conception of the harmonic organization of the whole solar system. Gauss did a lot of work, then taking Kepler's work further, discovering this really anomalous character to the whole solar system, this main asteroid belt. So this sticks out as the greatest population, the greatest density of these smaller objects in the solar system. But if we take it a step further, and this next image is actually, it's a little bit messy, might be a little bit hard to see all the details. Some of the colors are harder to see. This is an actual representation of the actual known populations of asteroids as of 2006. So as of 2006, we've done a lot of observation, some space-based observation, a lot of ground-based observation, try and find as many of these objects as possible for both scientific and defense issues both. And so what you have here, the white objects is the main asteroid belt. Again, we're looking at the same region. You see Jupiter just outside the main asteroid belt. You got the 4 inner planets. And you have all these very large population of asteroids. So again, you see the white is the main belt, biggest density. But as you can see, if you look inside that, there is a very significant population of other types of asteroids. And some of the colors are a little bit difficult to see, but they're blue, green, red. And so what you have in here, one of the classes in here that we're particularly concerned about, that NASA, Russia, other agencies are particularly concerned about, is a specific class of objects called near-Earth objects, near-Earth asteroids. And they are, if we go to the next image here, they have orbits that are significantly different than the main belt asteroids. These have orbits that are not all that different than the Earth's orbit. Here are 3 typical examples, 3 typical cases of the types of near-Earth objects that we are concerned with. And you can see, image again, it's a little bit busy, but the black is the Earth's orbit, and the blue, red, and green are 3 examples of classes of near-Earth asteroids, near-Earth objects. And so you can see with these objects, again, they orbit the sun, but they, as you can see in the red and the blue case, they have orbits where their paths around the sun take them on orbits that cross the Earth's orbit. So these become an object of great concern, because if the Earth's at that point of intersection when the asteroid is, then you're going to get an impact. So this particular class of objects that are being studied in great detail, these near-Earth objects. So it's a little bit different than the main belt asteroids. So this is a different class of objects that we want to find all of them, know where they all are, and watch them and forecast their orbits to make sure that if we think one of them is going to impact the Earth, we can take the proper measures to ensure that doesn't happen. That's by no means the extent of what we need to do, but this is just kind of to get into it as an opening. This is like the most immediate, on the table, upfront issue to deal with, is these near-Earth objects specifically.
You saw the positive effect of curiosity. Mm-hmm. The psychological effects we have to generate on this issue are key to doing it. And therefore we've got to break this thing. And even, our best people here still are stuck with the old idea of, the communists, this and that and so forth, which is no longer a relevant issue. But we have not developed a system of cooperation, particularly among major nations, and China and Russia are key. Russia's key for one reason, China's key because of its broad base. And we're involved now in developing systems on Earth which can anticipate some of these problems, because we can develop on Earth capabilities, qualitative capabilities we don't have now. And China and Russia are key in that. Europe is generally dead right now because of what the British have done. So we don't have much capability. The morale of Europe, the nations in Europe don't really exist. Germany is the one nation on the continent of Europe which still exists in some sense. It still has some degree of integrity. The rest of Western and Central Europe has lost its integrity. The Euro system has lost it. So therefore, what we have to think about is if you want to save civilization, you have to get rid of problems like Obama. You cannot have Obama, and you certainly don't want the other creeps or the Republican creeps. So the question is, we have to immediately, in this period, the hot issue is we have to immediately, in this issue, take this into account, put this into the picture, put this whole thing in the picture. That this is what men, don't worry about just what these comments can do, or what these, that's not the point. How can you defeat that process? Mm-hmm. How can you control it? We talked here at the table about certain things that can be done and certain possibilities. But that isn't going to save humanity from hell. What we've done on the Mars, that's more open. What we need is an international program among especially leading nations who with combined resources and have these kinds of technological resources within their capacity. We need an offensive program, not just a defensive one.
Right.
And we've got to go now from what we're doing now to actually kick butt on the fact that mankind must do this. We must take these resources and cut this crap out. We have to defend the existence of the human species.
Right.
And that means we have to have cooperation among especially leading nations who command more resources of this type.